Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today I'm going to be looking at Intellivision on the PlayStation 1. Now this is a collection of Intellivision games. It's made by the same people, the Activision, that did the Atari one, which I just did a video on actually a couple of videos ago. And so it's kind of the same idea. It's just a collection of games that they've selected to, kind of emulate on your PlayStation. I thought this was really cool when this came out. Actually, I had the PC version of this when it very first one that ever came out, where you had to load it on your PC. I know I actually have it around here somewhere as well. It's I think Windows 95 or something. It goes back in time, and I was really excited to get that. And the downside, obviously, was you don't get to use a real Intellivision controller. Perhaps a lot of people might see that as an upside. But I'm used to playing these games with that controller, so for me it was kind of a downside. I remember even emailing to Blue Sky Rangers, the Intellivision people at that time, if they were going to put out, create a controller, and they said at the time they were not planning on one. But, so anyways, this kind of came out on a bunch of different systems later on. You know, the PlayStation, there's, I think it came out on the Wii, maybe the PlayStation 2, It got released on a bunch of things. I know it was even on the Nintendo DS. I think it was DS. It was one of the Nintendo Game Boys. They actually made one as well. So this is like the PlayStation 1. So it's probably not going to be as good as it could be. But I'm going to take a look because I thought the Atari one was okay. Like I said in my video with that one, I felt that the colors are off, but that could have been my TV. So we're going to find out if that's the issue as well. But yeah, let's pop this into my PlayStation 1 and see how Intellivision games play. Okay, so let's get this game going. Got our Sony screen back up. And PlayStation. Again, we get to wait for the loading. So it's got the Activision there. It's strange because, none of these games are actually Activision games. So I guess it's a licensing thing. And since Activision did have this, why wasn't any of the Activision Intellivision games on here? Like Pitfall. It's a pretty cool animation they got going on there. Sort of like the Atari one. Did a similar thing. Showing you all the different games you can play. That's pretty cool. Okay, game loading. A collection of Intellivision classic games. Press start. 1999.
Hello, Commander. Computer reporting.
That's neat. That's from Space Spartans, the IntelliVoice game. I don't think any of the IntelliVoice games made it onto this. So we got a new game, load game, which I'm not going to do because I don't have a card in my slot there thing. Movies! And so the movies is pretty interesting. It's kind of like they run through some interviews with the programmers. I mean, I guess they just wanted to have some kind of little pieces of tidbits for how they made the games and how they ran Intellivision at the time. So you got like all these different programmers. You even have Keith Robertson in here. Robinson. Who was the former president of Intellivision. Before Tommy Tallarico took over. Sadly, he passed away about, 2 years ago? Or a year ago? So let's go back here and check out the games. That's the golf one there. New game. There's baseball. One of, if not the first talking game. Or at least to have some kind of voice synthesis in it for a console. Alright, so that's basically the game that you're selecting there. Got our little Intellivision there on the side. And these are the games for your selection piece. I'm finding, I don't know if it's just my TV, maybe it's the quality of my CRT TV. I find that to be a little bit hard to make out. But it does tell you here what game it is. So you got Armor Battle, which is kind of like Intellivision's answer to Combat. You know, whatever. Astro Smash, I mean, a true classic on the Intellivision. Auto Racing, which I suck at. Baseball. We got here basketball, boxing. A lot of sports titles made it on here because the sports games were kind of highlighted with the Intellivision. And even some of the board games made it on. Checkers, chess. I don't know why they decided to include checkers and chess. I mean, those games are pretty much checkers and chess. I mean, you play it on any system, it's going to be the same. There's the football game. Frog Bog. Interesting game. Golf. Hockey. Hover Force. I don't think I have this game. Poker and Blackjack, which I did a video on just recently. Night Stalker, another classic. Pinball, one of my favorites. And Sea Battle. A lot of these are two-player games, though. Shark, which I haven't spent any time on yet. I have the cartridge. I need to give it a shot. Sharp Shot, another game I don't have. Need to get my hands on one day. Skiing, I don't even think I have. Well, maybe I do have skiing. I think it's for the Atari I don't have skiing. I have it for the Intellivision, though. Snafu. I talked about this game before. It's a cool game. Soccer. Space Armada, which is pretty much Intellivision's answer to Space Invaders. Space Battle. Space Hawk, which is kind of like an Asteroids type of game. This is a volleyball, Super Pro Volleyball. This one sort of ends up on the those flashback systems as well. The Intellivision made a bunch of different flashback style joysticks, and they even made a flashback like the Atari flashback, but only one came out, and that was from At Games. Stadium Mud Buggies. Never played that before. And Star Strike, which is kind of like a Star Wars style game where you've got to kind of fly and destroy something. Sub Hunt, Tennis, and we're back. Now the one game I'm noticing that's absent is Utopia, which is one of my most favorite games on the system. I understand they didn't put on some of the other licensed games like Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, even though they have renamed them. They've taken the Dungeons and Dragons name off of them, so they could re-release them into like the flashback systems and stuff like that, but for whatever reason they didn't make this console port. I'm wondering if it has something to do with the fact that you're not using the actual controllers. So let's give let's give Astro Smash a try, because everybody loves Astro Smash. So let's see, we got X for fire, we got auto fire mode, hyperspace, and single fire mode. So let's give this a go. See how it looks. Start game. Play. Loading Astro Smash. Okay, so I mean, it's pretty legit. This looks like Astro Smash. The sound is right. Got all the functions. You don't have to use the Intellivision disc controller, so I mean, I'm using the typical PlayStation. Well, I'm using an analog one, but I don't believe the analog works for this. Which would be kind of neat if it did. Just tried it now. I can't seem to get it to recognize the analog sticks, so I guess it was too old. I'm using the rapid fire now. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty much, you know, this is good. This feels and looks like Astro Smash. As if I actually was just playing it on my Intellivision. There's no funky borders or anything around it. I mean, it looks nice and clean. Plays pretty fluid. I mean, I'm not used to playing this without the disc controller, so it is a little bit weird playing it on a D-pad. But I think, you know, for what it's worth, it actually is pretty decent. Alright, even got to the blue level. Alright, let's try something else. What else can we try here? I mean, a lot of them were two-player games, like boxing and stuff.
Hello, Commander. Computer reporting.
I think that's neat, but I kind of like the Atari one where it had that Soundwave voice, like the character Soundwave on Transformers. Space Armada. Let's give that, since I've never played it before, let's try the Stadium Mud Buggies thing. This is probably one of those rare games that came out a little bit late. So we got X for gas and change gear. Oh gosh, we gotta change gears. And we have the brake and reverse. Okay then. Stadium Mud Buggies. 9 gear grinding events. Huh. Number of players. Well, that's interesting. How do you continue? Well, doesn't let me go any further. I thought there might have been a way to pull up an Intellivision joystick, or gamepad, but there's nothing here. So it just is giving me the thing, and it wants me to choose a number of players, and I can't do anything. That's a shame. I think I'm gonna have to dig through my boxes and see if I can find a manual, because there's got to be a way to do this. Oh well. Let's quit this one. Yes, sir. That's a shame. Alright, moving
Hello,
on.
Commander. Computer reporting.
I know I have the actual manual somewhere. I have no idea. It's in a mess in my basement, so... Same with my Atari one. I got the case for it. Don't know where the heck I put it. Loading. That's okay. We can take a look at something else. How about Snafu? Maybe you're supposed to do it here. Maybe that's what I missed. There's that one section there where you can make selections. Alright. Again, it sounds like it. Looks like it. I think they did a pretty good job. I'm the red guy. See if I can trap the yellow guy. And get out of his way in a second. Oh! He trapped me! Huh. That's pretty cool. Still has that cool music. Alright. Let's quit this.
Hello, Commander. Computer reporting.
Okay, let's try the, let's try and go back to that Mud Buggies thing. Maybe that's what I didn't do. Gotta be a way to do it. There's auto racing. I wonder how the auto racing would be without the disc. That might be a little bit of a challenge. Player must use keypad to make game selections. Follow menu instructions on game. Use player 2 keypad to select computer skill levels. What? Oh, do I have to have another joystick? Press left 1 and left 2 to toggle player 1 keyboard. Oh. Helps if you read. There we go. I knew there was a way to do it. That's fun. It's kind of annoying though, but 1. Press enter. Hill climb. Sure. Can't see what's underneath there, so it's blocking it. Number of laps. Select number of laps. 1. Oh, I see. 6 is start event, so I have to push 6. Enter. Jeez, all that just to get through to the game. It's insane. Whoa. Whoa. It's a little bit weird using it. Again, kind of weird using a D-pad for something like this. It's like playing with those old remote control cars. I mean, I get what they're trying to do. The graphics are neat. I don't know what I'm doing though. I'm just driving around, busting myself. There we go. I think I'm going backwards. Whoa. Not a bad game, but once you get used to it, I guess. Kind of reminds me of auto racing, but the graphics are much clunkier, more blockier, I should say. Guess I'm trying to do an uphill climb here. I don't know what happened to the other player there. He just kind of stopped. This would probably be easier with the disc controller. I don't know what's going on, but I think I'm in the lead. Oh. I don't think you can crash or anything either. See what happens if I bang into him. Oh, that's just crazy. Not bad though. It's actually okay. I mean, this is, it gives you the experience of some of the best, Intellivision games. A lot of sports titles, the board games were kind of unnecessary, I thought. I think they just needed filler because, there's a lot of other games that they could have included. Now, I'm assuming it's a licensing issue because, this game was absent, the Burger Time for the Intellivision. Now, this is a licensed game. I think Data East owns it or something like that. So they probably didn't want to put that on there, even though this is probably one of the best ports of Burger Time on the Intellivision. And things like I mentioned, the Dungeons and Dragons, for instance, and even something like this would have been cool, Thunder Castle, which I believe this made it to the flashback system that you plug into your TV. I think that this one's on there, but this is a cool game, and so there were some notable titles that were missing. A lot of two-player stuff, which is great if you're going to be playing with other people, like, you know, boxing and what was it, baseball, hockey. They're all great two-player games if you have somebody else that actually wants to play Intellivision alongside you. Especially if you're kind of going to another generation of people that might not be familiar with the original Intellivision, and trying to get them to play on a real Intellivision might be a challenge when they're used to playing on the PlayStation and all that stuff. So it was kind of a good idea, you know, to throw in some two-player games just to get people to be able to play, you know, one-on-one. But other than that, you know, the quality of the games were actually pretty decent. I didn't have any problems with it. I felt that the gameplay was fast. Like, playing Astro Smash was good. Again, a little bit weird with the controller. I'm not used to using the D-pad playing that game. And that was probably my problem also with that last game. Where I was, you know, that buggy game, Mud Buggies or whatever. I've never played it before, so I was just goofing around on that one. But I assume it was designed to be played with the disc. But and that's a problem. When these games were originally designed, they were designed with the disc and controller in mind, and the keypad. Which, as you saw, I was struggling to figure that one out. I didn't read the little description there that said you had to use the two right buttons on the controller together to pop the menu out. That was a little frustrating. Why couldn't it have just been the one top button? Why did it have to be both buttons? And you had to hold it down, and I thought that was a little bit odd. Also, because they have that feature, why was not Utopia in there? Utopia is like one of my favorite games. I always play Utopia on the system. I mean, it was like probably the first ever simulator game where you have to build an island, kind of like SimCity. Noticeably absent, but I don't know. Maybe on other console collections it appears there. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Let me know what you think of the Intellivision on the PlayStation. It's not bad. It's just, you know, there could have been a lot better choices, more games and stuff. But I think for what it is, and for probably what I paid for it, it's probably decent. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Hope you subscribe to my channel. Talk to you later.